Hi, everyone, and welcome to our conflict integration project. So we decided to do Beacon College Prep, and we're going to give you a quick overview of the school so you're familiar with some of the student demographics and other factors at the school. So Beacon College Prep is a tuition-free charter school. It's a standalone charter school located in Opa-locka, Florida. The school serves mostly elementary students in the north wing of campus, but as of last year, they've opened a middle school. And so now on the other end, the southern wing of campus, we are serving middle school students. The elementary school has been open for the past 5 years and currently serves approximately 377 students, grades K through 5th. The middle school, like I said, is fairly new. They just opened their doors last year, and at this point, they serve about 150 students. So let's go ahead and look at the demographics of the school. So as you can see on the breakdown, 91 of students are African American, and out of that 91%, you're not going to see that there, but 36% of that are Haitian, are students from Haitian descent. However, they self-identify as African American, and 9% of the student population identifies as Hispanic. The school serves mostly students from low-income families, and as you can see right over here, 97% of students are coming from low-income families, and 45 of the students are female, and 55% of the student population is male. So Beacon College Prep believes that preparation for college is of extreme importance, and as a result, our job is really to hold all of our students to exceptionally high behavioral and academic standards. However, over the past 5 years that the school has been established, we have seen that in English, math, and science in grades 3rd, 4th, and 5th, there has been a huge gap compared to the state average. So if you look over here, English, the school's proficiency level is 41%, where the state average is at 54%. Again, overall in math, the proficiency is 46% for BCP, and the state average is at 57%. And in science, that is our lowest area in proficiency. We're at 26%, and the state average is 53%. So all across the board, our students are performing lower than the state average, which is a huge concern for our school.
All right, so now we're going to talk about the power systems at play. At the top of our organizational chart, we have the executive director, the head of school, who also serves as the principal. All right. In this organization, he is the head, he is the God Almighty, so to speak. Right? If you look at, there is a director of external affairs is below him, and then you have your administration staff right directly below those, which are assistant principals at the middle and elementary schools, the operations director, the dean of culture, and the exceptional student education ELL coordinator. Your teachers and your academic coaches and your operations managers and your ESE teachers and everybody that falls underneath them are also on the chart, as you can see. All right, so now we're going to look at some scores from the Florida Standards Assessment. Right, in ELA proficiency, we are below the state average of 20%. ELA learning gains, we are 15% below state average. We are above the state in the ELA learning gains by 11%, which is absolutely a glow. Math efficiency, 20 points below. Math learning gains 28% below. Math learning gains also, the lowest is 21%. Our science proficiency is at 20% below, and also the average is 36%, and the state is 54%, and the school grade for our school is the D, and the state average in Florida is B. Nourishers and toxins. The lack of a school culture has impacted the high teacher turnover. Most experienced and well-versed teachers do not stay past the 2-year mark. Nourishers are the student culture and the family involvement that goes on at BCP.
So when looking at how we tackle an issue like this, our short-term goal is going to be to create a compelling and aligned vision, mission, goals that are focused on high expectations and a safe environment. However, to do that and make sure that it's a common understanding is to make sure that all stakeholders feel like their voice was heard in the creation of a mission and value. And through that, we would then roll out campus climate surveys to assess and measure progress on the student and staff experiences. Majority of the teachers are in stage 1 or 2 of development. And so like we had said earlier, we have the teachers who can be great. They're just not receiving enough differentiated PDs, and there's not enough support for them, which is obviously why they're leaving after the 2 years. So to tackle that and create a school culture, this is the action plan that we're going to follow. So you'll notice first, the immediate thing, before you can create a mission or a vision, there has to be that trust, there has to be conflict resolution. So during that first week, we're going to go ahead and engage in restorative practices and conflict resolutions. After that, we will then create norms that will be established by the staff and instructional coaches in order to ensure trust and safety is felt. It's not beneficial if both parties are trying to sit down and talk when neither of them feel like both best interests will be felt. So then looking at action plan number 3, during PD, staff was going to take the Enneagram assessment just so that way other team members know how best to support each other. It's the idea of knowing how to serve those on your team while also knowing how to serve yourself. You'll notice again at the beginning of the year PD, this is when we will roll out staff and administration and they will engage in creating that aligned mission and vision. What we want to go ahead and mention, you'll notice here within this little category is there's a submission for teachers, students, as well as the parents and community. So when creating this, we want to think of what do we want these buckets to be saying about us as a school? As teachers, what do we want them to be saying? The students, what do we want them to say about Beacon? And then the big one is like the parents and the community. What do we want them to be talking about when they speak about our school? To hold ourselves accountable, obviously, is going to be quarterly climate surveys to ensure that everybody, all stakeholders, are reminded of the vision because it's really easy to forget throughout the year. So again, these are accountability actions. And the last one is creating a culture calendar to engage staff in culture and team builders. So that would look like when it's March Madness, we can create a bracket of activities to do. You've got Super Bowl things to do. Especially around testing season when things become stressful, we want to make sure that our staff feels supported, that this is an environment where everybody, as well as students, can be successful and grow here and not feel like, oh, state averages we're never going to hit. The goal is to build a vision that pushes us to anything is possible, we can hit the goals. The benchmarking for this is going to look like this. So by the end of the first quarter, the refined mission, because like we said with the climate surveys, we want to make sure all input is being heard. So the refined mission would be anything that maybe we forgot a value or we forgot a piece of the bucket will be solidified based on that feedback. The second one, teachers are going to be having bi-weekly accountability partners. So during beginning of the year PD, what's going to happen is people will partner up for somebody to hold them accountable throughout the year for their personal and their professional goal. So professional goals could range from anywhere of like, I want X amount of students to master on this. I want X amount of students to grow this many levels. And a personal goal could be anything that they feel like I also have a life outside of this. So how can I hold myself accountable to that? And it increases interaction and the culture between staff. And so it's not just transactional, but transformational in I have people bought into the goals that I also care about. Looking at the third benchmark, managers will then check in with teachers quarterly to ensure that those professional goals are being met. And this goes way back to that piece we mentioned about trust and understanding that their check-ins are not to mark you down, but to hold you accountable and push you to being the exemplar teacher these students deserve. Also, after each activity from the calendar, staff are going to go ahead and reflect on the closing rows and provide input on future activities. This is that big culture piece because, again, not everybody's going to be into sports. Not everybody's going to be into maybe an activity. So we want to make sure all voices are being lifted up. And if anybody, because all staff have talents outside of the classroom, so we can also incorporate those in the culture calendar and on the staff meetings and things like that. So obviously outcomes, what we really want is the staff to feel more connected and involved in the school building. Right now it's a toxic environment and the pressure is on because of test scores being lower than the state average. If we can change climate, with climate and mission comes the foundational piece of transformation and of teachers feeling supported, students feeling supported, and growth happening. Another outcome we want are culture improvements to positively affect student outcomes and those gaps being able to be closed. Like was mentioned earlier by Evinn with the Florida Standards Assessment, students are being retained in the third grade, and we don't want them to feel like they can't do it. And that comes from the culture being of a growth mindset and that everybody can do this, improving adults in the building as well as students.